I'll be seeing you soon. Retail.
Everyone who plays video games has that one series that defines them, that one series they're obsessed with, that one series that is a core piece of their identity. If you ask anyone in my age bracket or older, answers will greatly differ. You'll get a wide array of games and franchises, and it's awesome to see people express why their favorite game or series is so special to them. For me, that series is Sly Cooper, and like most series that I played in the 2000s, it is now 2 decades old. 20 years, gosh darn. Well, it was 20 years old 3 years ago, and I meant to do a 20th anniversary video for Sly 1 and Sly 2 last year, but life got in the way. And I thought it would probably be better if I did a proper video of the trilogy for Sly 3's anniversary where I could talk about the series as a whole. I could have done gameplay deep dives and talk about every individual atom and photon that makes up these games, but there's plenty of videos out there that already do a far better job of that than I could ever hope to do. I love these games on a much deeper level to where they aren't just games to me, they're inspirations, and I want to commemorate this beautiful occasion by telling my story with Sly Cooper and why I love it so much. And to do that, we need to go back to November of 2002. My family and I went to Best Buy because my older brother wanted to buy Dragon Ball Budokai. He was a massive Dragon Ball Z fan at the time. He drew fan art, bought a bunch of mangas, had an extensive DVD collection, hundreds of minifigurines taped to the top of our boxy ass CRT, video recorded episodes by using VHS tapes in the middle of the night. Dragon Ball Budokai coming out was a very big moment for him. While we were there, 5-year-old me was looking at other games in the aisle, and I spotted one of the coolest things I had ever seen at the time: the box art for Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. This mysterious and moody cover with its unique character logo and bold and glinted lettering captured my gaze as it stood out amongst all the more colorful box art surrounding it. Then I turned it over and saw this sick-looking raccoon draped in blue wielding a wicked hooked cane, sneaking around and swinging on stuff, and I knew right then and there I had to have it. I wanted this game. I needed this game. I was begging for my mom and brother to buy it for me, but they didn't. Needless to say, 5-year-old me was very upset. My bitch-ass family were too cowardly to make me happy, and they wonder why I don't talk to them anymore. I'm just kidding, by the way. They got me the game for Christmas the month after, and I was so freaking happy. By that time in my life, I was kind of a seasoned gamer. We had a lot of consoles, ranging from N64s to the original Xbox to the GameCube to the PS1 and PS2, and we used to go to Blockbuster every week to rent games. It wasn't too often when we bought games and owned them at the time, so being able to do so was a huge occasion for us. I played many games up to that point, but no game stood out to me as much as Sly Cooper did. What hooked me initially were the visuals. The extremely stylish 3D cartoony look was something I rarely saw before that point. The only things I can even remember coming close to looking like that were Batman Vengeance and Superman Shadow of Apocalypse, but Sly's look was truly in a world of its own. I loved all the character designs, the animation was incredibly fluid, showing how ridiculously smooth and cool Sly was in motion. Every level had such a distinct vibe and feeling. Raleigh's Rainy Isle, Mugshot's Mesa City compounding a casino, dog yard, and canyon all into one beautiful broken mess. Ruby's Dreary Swamp, which creeped me out as a kid, and it still kind of gives me the creeps as an adult, mostly because of that insanely chilling theme song. Panda King's Snowy Mountains, and Clockwork's Volcanic Castle. All of these existing in the same world as one another is something I've always loved seeing. It makes the world and its possibilities feel limitless in a way, and the heavily inspired comic book presentation was like crack to me. Little me was enamored by comic books and comic book media alike, and this was the first game I saw that really put its love for the medium on full display. With all of the animated cutscenes, the insanely cool title cards before each episode, the map being colored in depending on which area you go to. There are so many inspired visual elements that gives the Thievius Raccoonus a one-of-a-kind look, even in its own series. Little me was also in love with the gameplay because it was doing a lot of things that a lot of other 3D platformers weren't doing for me. The one-hit kills for both enemies and Sly himself made me play the game in a more tactical fashion, making even the most simplest encounters really tense. Its emphasis on stealth and maneuverability with interactive elements that allowed Sly to be a sleuthy acrobat is amazing. But it was also the willingness to add in minigames and give every mission its own flavor within the confines of the game. On top of these standard infiltration missions, here's a chase sequence with Carmelita. Here's a sequence where you have to shoot crabs so don't steal any treasure. Here's a racing level. Here's a gunner level where you have to protect Murray. Here's a gunboat level where you have to kill ghosts. Here's a rhythm game with Ruby that is the only way to beat her. The variety of levels and the way they were woven into the main narrative ended up being very innovative to me. It was also a really cool and fearless way to tell the player, hey, this universe of ours, it's filled with crazy and nonsensical stuff that never feels out of place, and this is true for the entire series. I also really liked that each villain was very distinct. Each one got an expositional animated scene, and they did a lot to give each character their own significance and purpose, and it's really cool that 3 of them returned in future entries. Sorry, Raleigh and Ruby, maybe another lifetime. Sly 1 was an amazing foundational title. I played it a bunch as a kid because we didn't have to return the game to Blockbuster. I can't tell you how excited I got when in 2004, my mom and I were at Walmart because I was homesick, unable to go to school. She wanted to buy some fabric to sew some clothes with, and she couldn't leave me home alone. So I went with her, I stuck close by her, and when she was done getting her fabrics, we went to the electronics section to get some batteries for our dish TV remotes, and I saw out of the corner of my eye that Sly 2 was in the display cabinet. I sprinted over to that cabinet and my mind exploded. I had no idea there was even a Sly 2 coming out, and just to put it in perspective for you all, my older brother and I used to watch X-Play and G4 religiously. X-Play in particular was our way of discovering new games, and not once did I see Sly 2 anywhere. I somehow missed it, but I didn't care. I was so giddy, I was jumping around like a freaking pogo stick, and she bought me it on the spot. My mom, who would not allow me to play video games on the weekdays until I was out of high school, bought me Sly 2 on a weekday because she said she rarely got to see me that happy. Now, I couldn't play the game until Friday because we bought it on a Tuesday, but hey, I got a new game. Sly 2, to this day, is one of the most impressive sequels ever made. They built upon everything from the first game, and the jump in everything is immediately noticeable. There's just so much more everything. More levels, more unique missions, more story, more dialogue, more systems, more ways to play, more characters, because Bentley and Murray were now fully playable. They were no longer relegated to being utility characters who drive and hack like they did in the first game. They are their own people now. It was the perfect way to advance the tale of the Cooper gang, because they're all grown up now. In the first game, they are really, really young from how they look to how they sound. But now they're way more mature and confident in themselves. They go up against another batch of insanely memorable villains like Dimitri, Rajan, the Contessa, John Bassan, and I wouldn't say Arpeggio is that memorable, but he's very cool for the very limited amount of time he's in the game. I'll say that much. The cool thing is that Rajan, Contessa, and John Bassan have 2 levels of their own, and I think that was a great idea. Their first levels showcase their facades, while their second levels showcase their more dangerous sides with their backs against the wall. These are not villains to underestimate. And in order to tackle these villains, the Cooper gang all get their own cool gadgets. Anytime I play Sly 2, I always end up using Sly's slide the most. It's so much fun to skate around really fast. And of course, the mega jump pack in the final level of the game. Jumping around with this thing quite literally never gets old. It's so much fun. Sly is at his best when he can use his speed, agility, and the environment to his advantage. Bentley is the brain with all the bombs, and Murray is an unstoppable tank. All 3 characters have their advantages and disadvantages, which the game is able to balance and highlight so well through its story and missions. Where Sly 1 was a revenge tale where Sly did almost all the work with some help along the way, Sly 2 is a gigantic heist movie where everyone has to do their job. And what better way to do it than planning some of the most elaborate heists you can think of. The story setup is that pieces of clockwork have been retrieved by evildoers who are using various parts as means to produce stuff. Dimitri uses the tail feathers to print counterfeit money. Rajan uses the heart to increase spice production. Contessa uses the eyes for hypnosis. And John Bassan uses the lungs, stomach, and talons to facilitate eco-terrorism. Clockwork has to go, once and for all. And like any good heist, they need to do reconnaissance first, taking pictures of anything notable that they need to be aware of, which are then detailed through Bentley's new slideshows explaining who goes where, who does what, and why, which are sick as hell. In the first game, the plan centered around improvisation more often than not, and the shift in being clear and calculated in Sly 2 is awesome. Sly, Bentley, and Murray get their own missions where each one does their own thing, but there are quite a handful of missions where they rely on each other's help. The game prides itself on the bond these 3 share and how much they trust one another no matter the situation. They're not associates, they're not even longtime friends. They're brothers, they're family. It's the core of the game, and arguably the entire series, and it's always on display, which makes the beginning of the Contessa's first level so damn memorable. At the end of Rajan's second level, Sly and Murray are arrested and taken into Contessa's custody, leaving Bentley all alone for the first time since they were in the orphanage together. He doesn't know how to function without Sly and Murray, but he rises above his initial confusion and cowardice to save his friends in this gothic, gloomy, Batman animated series looking ass place on his own. Even though you rescue Sly in the first 15 minutes of the level, I felt Bentley's fear and isolation as a kid because that place was scary as shit to be all alone in. Sly and Bentley eventually rescue Murray, and the three of them after that level rejoice and are super happy to be back with each other. The animated scene after that level is so heartwarming, watching them laugh and Murray letting Bentley drive the Cooper van before they apprehend the Contessa again. Speaking of the Cooper van, it does unfortunately get left behind in Canada in the second to last level, and it isn't seen again for the rest of the game. This is very important later, I promise. I love all of the insanely cool gameplay stuff and missions in this game to death, especially anything that involves paragliding, but it's these little moments with these three that are everything to me. It's what makes the ending to the game so bittersweet. Clockwork is finally destroyed at the cost of the gang being fractured after Bentley is crippled. They are battered by the end, with Murray blaming himself for Bentley getting hurt. Seeing these two in their condition, Sly agrees to turn himself in so that Murray and Bentley could be spared by Inspector Fox. But, of course, he gets away in the end, setting up Sly 3, a game that Sucker Punch were able to outdo themselves with, and it's a game I was actually keeping track of, and I knew when it would come out this time. No more sick day surprises. The problem, however, is that the game came out on a Monday. My brother bought it day one because he could, and I couldn't play it until Friday. So for 4 straight days after I came home from school, I unhealthily looked at that box art trapped in the glass TV stand display like it was a cat locked in a china shop overnight.
I'm gonna get you out of here. I promise you, I'm gonna get you out of there. You don't belong in there. I'm gonna get you out.
Friday came along, and the first thing I did when I got home from school was pop that disc into the PS2, and I played that shit until midnight. This game came out 1 year after Sly 2, and how they built on top of it in such a short time is incredible. The sheer creativity on display when it came to the gameplay alone was awe-inspiring. There are so many inventive missions and scenarios that are jam-packed in this game, it never ceases to impress me how they were able to implement so many things in this 10-hour game even 20 years later. Bouncing around Italy destroying tar pumps as Murray, speeding through the rivers of Italy in a gunboat gunning down gangs to keep them off of Carmelita, Sly disguising himself as a guard to trick actual guards to take their post,
tenor soprano,
Sorry about that.
Bentley unlocking safes by locating their combinations on the paintings they're hiding behind, hijacking goons as the Guru to destroy mining equipment, getting into a lemonade drinking contest at a local lemonade bar to drive away miners where Bentley drinks these motherfuckers under the table, only for it to escalate to a full-on bar fight between the gang and the whole town, carrying Murray over to oil pumps in a giant crane while also using it to defend him, capturing red scorpions in a monster truck section, getting a magical mask off of giant Carmelita by climbing her, pitting other countries against one another by rowing underground in the sewers, stealing both teams' treasured trophies, and framing them both by planting their respective flags at the scene of the crime so that they are gunning for each other instead of you during the next day's dogfighting, preventing your plane from getting damaged by mugshot, both by Murray's might in the hangar and by Bentley's brains in the underground, pitting Carmelita against mugshot so he isn't a factor anymore, a rematch of Sly vs. Panda King from the first game to satiate his hatred in order to rescue his daughter, killing vampires in China with fireworks, taking pictures of goons to nab the gig of a wedding photographer, the Guru using objects and enemies as a way for Sly to navigate the air into the sick-ass boss fight with General Sal where you can jet stream across the entire arena. I replayed this mission so much as a kid. Using Penelope's RC car to carefully navigate through this maze before resorting to shooting and destroying everything in sight, rescuing Penelope by scaling a literal dragon, getting into a shit-talking contest with a senile pirate to convince him that you are his dead best friend,
You are a idiotic, pus-faced sack of maggots.
Haha, cantankerous Tim, it must be you.
all of the pirate ship fights. Like, seriously, these are so fun and intuitive. Everyone complains that we are lacking pirate games in the modern era when this exists. Like, it's all you need. Subduing a kraken with fireworks and the Guru so that you can use it for later. Leading a temporarily blinded Penelope to safety by using a wire cam that can sling around. Dimitri going underwater in first person to retrieve gear for the gang and kill sharks. Penelope sword fighting Lafouille. And don't even get me started with the final level of the game, because it blends everything in perfectly, giving each character their pivotal moments to help Sly achieve his destiny. I argue that this is Sucker Punch's most creative game to date. There are so many cool and creative missions that it's hard to choose a favorite, but if I had to, it would be the Cooper van rescue mission. It was left behind in Canada in Sly 2, and it reemerges in a block of ice in China. This van is home to all of the Cooper gang's most cherished and sacred memories, and it means beyond the world to Murray. So much so that he's willing to do everything it takes to get it back. Both Penelope and Bentley admire his passion, but deem saving the van too risky to the whole operation. Murray then says,
But no! No! Either help me or get out of my way! I'm bringing her home!
Penelope ends up helping and uses her chopper to clear Murray's path all the way up to these spikes that she can't get him past even if she tried. Panda King witnesses Murray's fiery love for a machine and wonders, had he had a fraction of Murray's love of that van for his daughter, that she wouldn't be in peril.
I will not! I will never leave her behind again! Words do tear at a father's heart. Would that I had such passion when they came from my little Jing King.
It lights a fire in Panda King, and he ends up getting Murray and the van back to the safe house by blowing up everything in their path. Now, this mission is nothing spectacular gameplay-wise, but the emotion behind it is very moving to me. I am subject to constant negativity and cynicism in today's age thanks to being chronically online, so when I see someone express abundant love for something, it's awesome, especially when it is for something that no one else cares about, but that something means the world to that someone. That is the real punk rock. If Sly 1 was about revenge and Sly 2 was about relationships, Sly 3 is about redemption. Dimitri and Panda King get opportunities to right their wrongs from previous games. Murray seeks it due to the guilt he has about Bentley being crippled. A good chunk of the characters have something they want to answer for, which they're able to do, and I think the end of the game in that regard is beautifully done. The Cooper Vault and keeping Dr. M from infiltrating it is the gang's top priority. It's the reason they even recruited more members to help out. But never throughout the game is the Cooper Vault something Sly truly desires. He'd love to see everything his bloodline was able to leave for future generations, and he's able to do so. But when he gets his opportunity to enter it, the first thing he does is call Bentley and Murray to go inside because they're a family. And when the vault starts collapsing, the real treasure wasn't the riches of the vault, it was the people he loved. None of this extra stuff really mattered to him. And I know that bonds over materialism is a very basic and cliche theme that has been expressed through centuries of storytelling, but for little me, it was pretty profound. I still love these kinds of stories to this day. You spend all of these games scheming and stealing some of the most valuable items in the world, but it's always conveyed throughout the series that what's the point of getting all of these things if there's no one to share it with? I mean, you play as a master thief who can steal anything he puts his mind to, but he always puts his friends first. And at the end, where Sly is nowhere to be seen and seemingly hangs it all up for good, his last gift to his friends was his cane and the remaining vault riches, so they never had to work a day in their lives ever again. These games instilled a very important message in me at a young age, that friendship and love mean very little when it's convenient. I was a very selfish kid who lied a lot, so I didn't truly understand what that meant in real life until my later years in high school. But as I developed my relationships with my friends and family who all had varying challenges and desires in their lives, I understood that message more and more. So when those tough moments came, I felt like I was prepared not only because of my upbringing thanks to my mom and brother, but also thanks to Sly Cooper. And because of them, I have some of the most unbreakable relationships anyone could ever ask for. I adore the Sly Cooper series for everything, gameplay, characters, music, you name it. But like I said earlier, to me, it's more than just video games, it's a way of life. And I am forever grateful to everyone who played a part in making these games a reality. So, happy 20th anniversary to the Sly Trilogy. Thank you so much, Sucker Punch, for all that you do. That's it for me. I'd love to hear your thoughts and memories of the Sly game, so comment down below, like and sub if you enjoyed the video, and long live Sly Cooper.